Hey, what's up guys, the Strong Boys 19 here. This is going to be the first review for 2016, and I'm going to be doing the quick album review on the next Pink Floyd album entitled Ummagumma. This is the follow-up to their previous album, which is a soundtrack entitled More. It came out in October 1969. Now, this is the first Pink Floyd album to be released as a double album. The first side is a live album, and the second side is the studio album. And I'm not going to talk about the live album that much, but all I want to say is that I will prefer the live album much better than the studio album, excuse me, if I can talk right. So, the live album is really nice, and it does have some brilliant production qualities, and they've played 4 tracks, Astronomy Des Moines, which I find to be a much better version than the studio album From the Piper at the Gates of Dawn, and I find that album to be one of Pink Floyd's best albums. They've also played Careful with That Axe Eugene, Set the Controls for the Heart of the Sun, and the title track from their second album, A Saucer Full of Secrets. And it is a really good live album, and I really recommend it. So, the studio version of Ummagumma, I do have mixed emotions about it. It's not bad, but I really don't think that it's one of the band's best accomplishments of originality. And the album as a whole, from the live album and the studio album, I actually do like it, but I wouldn't really consider it as one of Pink Floyd's very best albums. However, it is still in the top 10. And the experimentation that Pink Floyd took on the studio album is very, very much a big variety of genres and different sounds than their previous album and Saucer Full of Secrets. And the studio version does contain the same psychedelic sounds, and they've also been experimenting from genres like psychedelic folk, avant-garde, and musical concrete as well. And not all of Pink Floyd's tracks are done by every single member. Really, the studio version were just pieces of tracks that were composed by all of the 4 members of the band separately. And the first track, entitled Sisyphus Parts 1 to 4, is a Richard Wright composition, parts 1 to 4, and I might have mispronounced it, I apologize. Grandchester Meadows, a Roger Waters composition, and another Roger Waters composition, and I have to read this. This is a really long title. Several species of small furry animals gathered together in a cave and grooving with a pict. Yeah, I know, really long track title. The Narrow Way, which is a 3-part David Gilmour track, and the Grand Vizier's Garden Party, parts 1 to 3, composition by Nick Mason. The tracks that I do enjoy the most from the studio album is Grandchester Meadows and The Narrow Way. Grandchester Meadows contains some really nice acoustic guitar sound, and its great delivery with Roger's soft and clean vocals, and I find it to be one of the best folk songs that the band has ever done. And The Narrow Way I really do enjoy a lot. And the other tracks, Richard Wright's composition is not bad at all. However, there are some moments on the track that I find quite good at first, but then it immediately changes into something different that is unexpected, and I really wouldn't think of it as a better direction in terms of trying to make something new from the way that these guys have been writing these songs from whatever they want to do, basically. And Nick Mason's composition wasn't that special to me, and I really didn't care for it. And the Roger Waters track of the several species of furry animals, you know the drill. I find that one to be the most annoying track on the album. It's not really music, but it's just a massive wall of noise of many animals, and it includes these very repetitive loop effects, and it goes on and on and on. And Roger Waters tries to do a Scottish type of accent, and to me it never worked out for me, and I just find that track to be one of the weakest tracks from Pink Floyd's career. That's just my opinion. I don't know what you guys think, but yeah. So the rest of the tracks, you know, like Grandchester Meadows and The Narrow Way, are the best ones in my opinion on the studio album. But like I said earlier on in the review, I will easily prefer the live album of Ummagumma. So there isn't really much to say about the album. However, after the album's completion, the band absolutely hated it. They really disliked this album, and if they don't find it good or interesting, I mean, why would the band release it? Well, I'm glad that the live album's released, but not the studio album. From what they thought of it, they should have just released it as a bunch of rarities or some unreleased pieces of music or something. I don't know, but the studio recordings released anyways. So let me know what you guys think of Ummagumma in the comments below. And I really don't think there's a lot of more sentences for me to say on Ummagumma. It's a decent album, above average album for what it is, but I really don't think of it as one of their massive big releases, in my opinion. I'm glad that it is still a good album for me to listen to, and I would listen to it at some point any day. So in terms for an album rating, I am going to give Ummagumma by Pink Floyd a 7.5 out of 10. Thank you guys for watching, and in the next Pink Floyd review, I'm going to be reviewing Atom Heart Mother. So, cheers guys!